Hello and welcome to the Battle for Azeroth beta. In this video we are looking at the new Island Expeditions feature, which is 3-player role-agnostic bite-sized content that can be done within 15 to 20 minutes. There are 8 different islands available in total, but as I understand it they will be in a rotation of 3 each week, but each island will have many different configurations, so it won't always be the same. The basis of Island Expeditions is that you land on an island with 2 other players and you are racing against the enemy team to collect 6,000 Azerite. The enemy team can be made up of players or against NPCs on normal, heroic or mythic difficulty, with a new type of AI that has been added to the game that makes the NPCs behave more like players. This video footage is from an Island Expedition against the normal AI. There are many different ways to collect the 6,000 Azerite that you need to win, and a score is kept for each team's progress at the top of the screen. Azerite can be gained from mining Azerite nodes, but you do not need to be a miner to do this. You can also get it from looting treasures, killing enemies or rares, helping NPCs, or by killing the enemy faction team. As you can see in the video, if you get too close to the enemy faction ship, then it will start to fire artillery at you until you get far enough away. In addition to the sources of Azerite, there are shrines, food and other objects scattered around the island that can grant you buffs such as increased damage or health. Some objects don't do anything initially but can be used to solve a puzzle or help an NPC. For example, later in this video we find a goblin that is tangled up in vines. Not too far from him was a torch that could be picked up and used to burn the vines and free him. Doing so will grant a good amount of Azerite. It is possible, if not likely, that you will bump into the enemy faction team during your progress through the island. As already mentioned, killing the enemy team does grant Azerite, but more importantly it slows down their progress because they have to respawn back at their ship. In this video we met the enemy team a couple of times and it was a pleasant surprise to see the new AI in practice. Even on normal mode they do quite a lot of damage. In our first encounter with them, you can see here that we killed one of them and the other 2 immediately retreated back to the safety of their ship. After pushing them back, we had an advantage and went back to collecting Azerite. This is the example I mentioned earlier. The goblin NPC is tangled in vines, so I could use the nearby torch to free him and get Azerite as a reward. The enemies on the island can be quite varied, and as I mentioned at the start of the video, there are many configurations of each of the 8 islands, so it can be the case that the next time I come to this island, it could be inhabited by a lot of murlocs, or maybe a group of Mogu explorers. This is intended to mix it up so the content doesn't get too repetitive, which is especially important as they said it will be one of the primary ways to earn artifact power. The enemy faction team showed up while we were fighting this rare and they began to attack us. As you can see, one of them is using a flamethrower to do AoE damage and throw bombs in the ground that we need to avoid. This guy is actually a gnome inside of a mech suit, and once we kill the mech suit, the gnome will run away to safety. After I retreat to heal myself, I decided to focus on their hunter, Dizzy Dinah. As you can see, she positioned herself on the hill, and when I go after her she starts jumping around and even spawns a decoy as she uses camouflage to gain stealth temporarily. As I continue attacking her, she again starts to jump and run away, and even jumps between trees to momentarily block my line of sight before she dies. Soon after fighting the enemy team, we encountered this rare boss that provided quite a lot of Azerite in the surrounding area. He wasn't too difficult as expected from normal mode, because he only did a few AoE attacks that were easy enough to dodge, but it was after killing him that we could collect the Azerite from him and the surrounding area to push us to the 6,000 Azerite win condition. This concludes my run in the Island Expedition. I actually had quite a lot of fun with this and I can't wait to see what improvements the AI will have in heroic and mythic difficulties. If you enjoyed this video then feel free to subscribe for more Battle for Azeroth content.